GAA's first manager 50 years ago, but his memories are still sharp, belying the fact that he is now 87 years of age. Are you surprised at the reaction 50 years later?
I am. Well, I never expected to be here 50 years later. they were wonderful fellas. We had 15 fellas and never a passenger.
At the magnificent Christian Brothers grounds in Newry, the Down team of 2010 are seeking to emulate what Barney's team of 1960 achieved. Two former greats watch quietly from the sideline.
Modern technology.
50 years previous, these two men were playing centre-back and centre-forward in the All-Ireland final against Kerry. Jim McCartan completed one of the most potent attacks in modern-day football by wearing number 11, flanked by Sean O'Neill and Paddy Doherty.
My most outstanding memory would be my father on the Jones Road after the game. I'm standing crying with pure joy. To me, that's the outstanding memory of 60 years. It changed your life, but no matter where you went, somebody wanted to talk football to you. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you weren't informed for talk, do you know what I mean? But if somebody always wanted to talk football to you, no matter where you went.
I went to the College of Surgeons and there was no Gaelic team in it. So I joined the soccer club and the rugby club and I played soccer and rugby. But during my whole time in Dublin.
Really?
Yeah. It was easy enough to do because at that stage there was no television cameras and nobody knew. You could walk down the street and nobody knew who you were.
Just over 30 years later, in 1994, the name McCartan was once again linked to an All-Ireland winning team. Wee James, as he's affectionately called, and son of Jim, was part of an All-Ireland winning combination. 16 years later, Wee James is now the manager of the Down football team.
My father didn't gloat in his own, the glory days, but I do remember one day coming out of Croke Park and he did score, and it must have been a friend of his, but he went over to this guy, asked that guy who scored the greatest goal in Croke Park, and we did, and he told us, and he said it was your father, so we said that's a setup, and we were trying to figure out for the life of us how he managed it, but still to this day we don't know.
A further link with the past is the presence of Daniel McCartan at right cornerback, brother of manager James, son of Jim and nephew of Dan.
When I started playing club football and county football, I came home with a tracksuit and I just told my dad and goes, Mummy goes, Dad goes, look James, you didn't get one of them there whenever you're running about. And Dad, he walked about, he could see him, he was a wee bit annoyed, so he walked about for 10-15 minutes. He came back in, I was still eating my dinner and he just threw down the table, he just threw 2 Ireland medals on the table and he goes, I didn't get tracksuits, I got them.
The Down team of 2010 are preparing for the championship ahead. They are in some ways hampered by the glory days of the past and inspired by potentially successful days ahead. For the players on that historic team that first brought Sam Maguire across the border, did winning the All-Ireland change their lives?
We became sort of personalities here and Down. You can't avoid that, and became very well known. And the great friendships that flowed on from, playing against the top teams in the country they were very special too.
Incredibly, Down have never lost an All-Ireland final. Wouldn't it be truly amazing if the team of 1960 inspired the latest generation of Down footballers to bring Sam back home again this year, 50 years after it was first done by a team of men that will never be forgotten.
So that's the word on Down, who travelled to Ballybofey on May 30th. And Anthony Tohol, that won't necessarily be an easy task.
No, I think Marty said it'd be truly amazing if they were to emulate what happened 50 years ago. And I think it would be truly amazing if Down were to win the All-Ireland this year. But they've had a positive year so far. Very, very difficult first round championship match to go to Ballybofey and get a win. But it all depends really on what Donegal team shows up on the day. I think Down, while they've made progress, it's a bit much to expect them to win a title this year, and they'll seek further progression through the qualifiers.
Let's have a look, Anthony, at the full list of fixtures here, and of course obviously Ulster as usual a very busy county. Your own county, Derry, of course, a big game against Armagh. That's our first on the Sunday game, or televised match on the 16th of May. Yeah,
that should be a really, really great game up in Celtic Park. There was a time when Celtic Park was a fortress for Derry football, and teams didn't get out of there with a win. There's very, very seldom, I think Down in '94 being the exception.
Yeah.
But Derry have had a bad National League campaign. They've lost games very, very cheaply at home. Armagh buoyant from winning the Division 2 title today. They're on the up. It's going to take a massive performance by Derry. They're really going to have to pull that one out of the bag. And then you have Monaghan waiting on the winners of that, and those three teams are almost inseparable. Monaghan, you've got to give them credit for the way they've retained the absolute hunger and desire they have to win something, and they haven't gone away. And Monaghan could pip either of Derry and Armagh in the quarter final.
Have to talk about Tyrone, of course.
Well, Tyrone remain the team to beat. Up until I suppose yesterday, you would have said that's a potential banana skin for them against Antrim. Antrim successive promotions out of Division 4, now out of Division 3, but they were poor yesterday. They didn't show up, and that defeat could have take a lot out of Antrim.
Mind you, Antrim, I suppose they were in the Ulster final last year as well, so
they were,
they're
but
making some sort of shape.
I think Tyrone, if you want a bit of fun for your bet, I think you should maybe have a punt on Donegal. Notoriously unpredictable, capable of doing anything on their day. They could beat any other team in Ulster. They could also get beaten by any other team in Ulster. For me, I think this is a year. We've had 11 years now on the trot where it's been Armagh and Tyrone have won the Ulster titles. I think this year there could be a change, and have a bit of fun and put a few pound on Donegal. So
says Anthony Toll. Let's see if he does. Kevin McStay, let's look at Leinster last.
Well, the team to beat Dublin.
The Dubs, of course. They can win Leinster titles. The next bit is the problem.
Yeah, they're winning these for fun. And funnily enough, I think there could be a change there as well this year. We've been talking about Kildare earlier on that have possibilities. I'd like to throw in my daft bet of the year, and I mentioned Laois's prospects. I think they're tipping away nice and quietly, and on their day I think they'll give that half of the draw. Now they are down with the Meath Dublin side of the draw, so on the other side, yeah, I think Kildare probably would have the best chance, and they haven't shown huge improvement in the league, but they should get to a final. And who's going to come through? Well, the big money will be on Dublin, of course.
Of course, obviously.
But if we want to have a bit of fun and maybe lay off a few bob in the final, I think Laois will probably get Laois pretty good odds, and there's some big game players, and if they tog strong.
Most punters, Kevin, don't want to have fun. They want to win money.
Well, it's very easy.
Could we help them? Who's going to win the All Ireland, do you think?
Yeah, well, we'll try and get the provinces half right first. But look, Dublin are the team to beat. I think that's fair to say.
In Leinster, but I think Kildare now, they've been into the quarter-finals now 2 years in a row. I think if their players want to push on and really achieve something, they're never going to get a better chance than they have this year. And I'll go for Kildare. For Leinster, I think the All Ireland's a bit easier to predict, and for me at the minute there's only one show in town, and that's Cork.
Yeah, snap.
Yeah. Kevin, do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree with them. I think today it will help, but regardless of today, I was going to say they just have to beat Kerry at some stage when there isn't a safety net involved. They're really getting inch by inch closer to doing that, and I think
the
they're very
biggest problem
close
is
to
going to
doing
be what 15 do they put out, because they've got such depth of talent in their team.
So let's just say that Cork make a good run at the championship this year and they get to that All Ireland final, as of course they did last year. Who do you fancy to be there with them?
Well, Kerry are going to be thereabouts. I think it's one thing beating Kerry once in a season, it's another thing beating them twice. They're going to be thereabouts. You know, you'd have thought, you know, Mayo would have been pushing into the last four, but I'm not sure after today. Dublin, you don't know, they could get a good run through the qualifiers, perhaps might suit them better than this.
What about Galway? You know,
no hope.
There has to be something going on. I mean, Joe Kernan didn't go down, isn't it? You're doing this, you know, these miles for fun.
I don't know that Galway have enough really genuinely class footballers to win an All Ireland, and Michael Meehan, the bad injury, so it will remain to be seen. A lot of their prospects will depend on whether he can overcome
Looks
that
like
injury.
Cork, really
so
does.
It's a Cork Kerry final, said the two boys, and Laois to win Leicester and Donegal to win Ulster. Have it all now. Okay, now just before we go here on Sunday Sport, a look ahead to what's coming up during the week in terms of sport on RTE television. As usual, the week begins with M&S, in which we'll be looking back at all of the weekend's ups and downs in the Airtricity League, 7 o'clock on RTE2. On Wednesday, it's the Champions League semi-final second leg. That's the game between Barcelona and Inter Milan, in which Inter, of course, will be hoping to hold on to their 2-goal lead. The programme starts at 7 o'clock. And then back here again next weekend on Sunday Sport, we feature the conclusion of the Allianz National Hurling League. Cork and Galway in the main final, Clare and Wexford in the Division 2 decider. And just note, because of the late starts in Thurles on Sunday, our programme is on air at 11 o'clock. OK, on that note, we close up here on the programme for this evening. My thanks to Anthony Toll and, of course, to Kevin McStay for their contribution here on Sunday Sport tonight. I hope you have a good week. Until the next time, bye-bye.